Good morning, he's, she's, theys, and castaways, and welcome to Sarah and Thomas's Survival Guide. Start this week off, we're going to talk about the Spectator Draft. The time has finally come. Noah's draft has been obliterated. Draft loser of the season. I'm so sorry, Noah. That's because Caitlin was voted out. And then also Amy. Amy was not Noah's draft, but this also causes Zoe to not have a perfect draft anymore. Anyway, there are 9 perfect drafts left, including mine and other people's. I don't know whose. I didn't pay attention. Yeah, so hopefully we figure out that shit. Probably shouldn't have said shit on air.
Alright, Challenge 12 was a slam poetry. We saw castaways from each tribe be paired up against each other, and they had to write the best roast they could. So, for the first up one that we have, it was Alec versus Caitlin. Alec won by default, Caitlin didn't submit anything. Next we have Izzy versus Ricky, and then Isabel versus Ricky. Ricky had 2 because of the odd number of castaways. In the Izzy versus Ricky matchup, Ricky won. In the Isabel versus Ricky matchup, Isabel won. Win 1, lose 1. Kind of tough. Ricky does rap fast, really fast.
I had no idea what he was saying. He was just going.
Eminem moment. Then we have Evan and Abby. Evan won. I'm kind of surprised that he did. I guess it was his clapback that brought him victory, but I didn't watch it. Then we have Amy versus Duncan. Duncan won. Amy only said, "You're literally what, 37 or something like that?" And then Duncan actually did some good stuff. Liam versus Rachel. Liam won. Liam put a lot of effort into making his video. A lot of editing. Didn't need to, but he did. Love seeing it. And then there was Margaret versus Cassidy, which Cassidy won. Honestly, it's about worth it. Both of them really didn't know what to do for each other, so they just kind of had to do what they could. Respecting boundaries, though, that's a good thing.
It was really interesting to see how the castaways would interact with people that they've never met before. So that was kind of fun, especially if you have to insult someone that you don't know.
Yeah.
Alright, speaking of insulting people we don't know, Thomas and I have actually prepared some roasts for each other. Mine does not rhyme, so don't expect it. I mean, I could try, I could force the words to rhyme like Shakespeare, but I'm not going to do that. Anyway, I'll start, I guess. Thomas, you were a chaotic spectator last season, but this one was where's the spice? I mean, I guess you don't know spice because you've never gotten the bowl. Do you really want to produce, or were you just afraid to play the game? Imagine being in love with a Pokemon man. I don't know. I'm not gay, except I am. Anyway, you're a furry. Anyway, my roast may not be great, but yours is gonna stink worse than your brother's laundry.
Okay, but you didn't bring my brother's laundry in. Damn. Oh, man.
Hashtag no bitches.
That makes me feel bad because I wrote a lot. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. Sarah coming second behind Zoe in season 1, showing us you're just a beta. Fitting for someone who lives in beta. Funny how your wife even left you for the other side. Don't take this too harsh, but if I'm honest, I'm not that harsh. After all, it'd be too easy with just one look at your confessionals. You're as good as a priest, except I don't see anyone coming to hear your gospel. If they did, they'd only be hostile. I don't got much to say. because, you know, you've already said such. Seems your worst enemies yourself might have been able to win if you weren't by yourself. But don't beat yourself up. Second place is nothing to sneeze at, but... Oops, I sneezed and missed all of your season. Seems I gotta end this rap because now I need a tissue and a nap.
They have tissues downstairs. I saw them.
They do. I don't have any in my person, so...
Well, yeah. Well, get your snot on the floor. Anyway, our next challenge was Escape the Fortress. I was there for some of the setting up, but I did not actually see it occur, so... I know that the Brainiacs won because they got a little bit closer to finishing. Neither of the tribes finished. The hosts worked really hard on this challenge, and they were very creepy and cute. They were sitting there, giving their little messages, and Morgan was talking about after how their throat really hurt because of all the screaming. So, Castaways, why did you make Morgan scream? Anyway, clearly that's why you didn't escape. So yeah, me and Maggie were in charge of Build the Fortress, which I named because I thought that would be fun. They had to make a card tower. Neither tribe knew how to make a card tower, so it was mostly just them putting boxes of cards on top of each other, which, you know, the Brainiacs built the bigger tower, and then they played cards. So, you know what, good for them. Team bonding. The Flamingos decided to lift up the table that the tower was on, because they were like, well, will this count? And I was like, I don't know, probably not, but you could try it. And so they lifted it over my head, but it didn't count. And then Ludini, Evan's great uncle-in-law, showed up and did magic for us. And this is posted on our YouTube as well. There's a link in Spectator Chat. If anyone wants me to send it to the weekly update chat, we could put it in there. But it's just 5 minutes of Evan talking. So I don't know if you want to watch that.
Every Evan video ever. Let's move on to Tribal 10. As you know, the Brainiacs were at the Tribal Council this time, and they got rid of Caitlin. Unfortunately, Caitlin wasn't active recently. You know, it happens. Stuff comes up, especially in the middle of a semester, and she understood that she had to go. She was the only one who hasn't been participating recently, so it sucks. Would have loved to see her go further and what more she could have done, but things happen.
On the 11th Tribal, Amy was voted out from the Flamingos. She didn't want to play anymore. She hadn't really been. She didn't show up to the Fortress Challenge, even though when I went to Slater, I saw her sitting there. So I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, she just didn't want to participate anymore. Hopefully, we'll be able to get interviews from these people.
It's not easy hunting them down.
They really just don't want to be bothered, which is fair. I mean, give it out. You just don't want to think about Survivor anymore.
Well, we might get Wilbur soon. Stay put for that.
All right, now time for the tribe analysis.
Yes, all right. So, as we know from these challenges that we've been covering, the Brainiacs work really well together in person, and they tend to dominate those challenges a lot more than the challenges where individuals can go off and do their own thing, and it's kind of like a cumulative score for their team. Flamingos tend to win those challenges more where it's just cumulative team score. And usually that's just because Izzy, Evan, and Liam tend to just be the top dogs and just crazy high scores, and that adds up, and then they beat the Brainiacs essentially. Brainiacs just aren't good with those kind of activities, but they definitely do work together. As you know, Izzy, Evan, and Liam are still strong contenders for the Flamingos, though we've seen some debate between Evan and Liam on whether or not Izzy should go. Izzy might be the next person to go, honestly, if they don't win another challenge.
Yeah, and especially because, you know, they Evan and Liam are kind of suspicious of Izzy being allied with Cassidy from when they were allied, so.
Kind of odd considering we've been seeing Izzy very hostile towards Cassidy.
Yeah.
And we've also seen Izzy not really bonding well with the Flamingos based on that one relay race challenge, whatever it was called.
The ferryman from Ganon.
Yeah.
Moving on to our weekly highlights. Mason got locked in a vault. Haha.
Mason.
Imagine being stuck in a vault. Couldn't be us.
Couldn't be us.
Yeah.
But you know what? I heard Taylor Swift recently released a new song from the vault, and she called it Mason.
Oh, good. Glad.
So glad.
Anyway, even though the castaways had to roast each other, they were respectful to each other and their boundaries. So, that's really nice. No one was too mean.
No.
Unlike me. I'm just kidding. I wasn't that mean, was I?
No, I wasn't hurt. I found it funny. You weren't hurt, were you?
No.
Okay.
I literally made my own roast in my confessional.
That is true. That wouldn't be as fun to use against you.
It would have been kind of funny, though. Moving on to the castaway of the week. I'm saying Abby because she put up with both of her tribes for the challenges, and she's strengthening her alliances, which is always really nice to see. She was also pretty respectful during the Build the Fortress challenge, whereas some of the castaways were like, what if we built a chair fort? What if we put a chair on the table? What if we didn't do the challenge? What if we destroyed your cards? So, you know what? I was very thankful that she didn't want to do any of that stuff. And she worked really hard. So, good for Abby.
My castaway of the week is Abby. We both did Abby. Wow, what a surprise.
It's Abby's week.
It is Abby's week, honestly.
Mason, Abby's version.
Abby, we really got to see her grow with her new tribe, the Brainiacs, and when she started off not really keen on them, but then they started to grow on her, and now she feels a lot more comfortable and proud of her tribe, and that's something we'd like to see. We'd like to see our castaways, grow and become more close to each other. It's always a great opportunity to use this game to make friends and meet new people at Denison, so taking this as an opportunity to do so is really a good thing.
Yeah. Alright, that's all for this week. Thank you for watching. Thomas is going to go on a date with Linda from Huffman. So,
what?
Yeah, go have fun with that.
It's not happening, but alright, we'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.